How's it going, guys? And welcome to Gabe's Reef. I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the corals, what's going on with my tank, a little bit about things I would have done differently, stuff like that. So getting started, I'll just give you a quick tour what's been going on this week. The Lobo looks almost orangish, kind of. I did have to do an iodine dip on it. I don't think it killed it or hurt it. It did kind of change the coloring a little bit, which is no issue. I think it looks kind of cool, so I'm not that bothered by it, honestly. Now, as far as this leather right here is concerned, it's doing really well. I did dose a little bit of Reef roids to all my corals today. Here's the clownfish sticking his face in the coral. I love that. I'm gonna jump over here, kind of leave him alone. And then my candies seems to be doing well. I can't tell if those ones are dying or if new ones are sprouting on the backside right there. Look like there's new ones down here. There looks like there's a newer one right there. Those heads are getting so big they're like smashed together. So this coral is doing phenomenal, I think, in my opinion. As far as the leather tree goes, it's looking good. My green star pops, those bad spots right there were like that when I got it. You can see them kind of growing some right there. So I think it'll slowly fill in. And this one, we all know the story of how it fell. And basically, just didn't know which way it was going to grow or face or anything because it was so balled up and so squished. So I kind of glued it to the white side that I thought would, hold it. And it fell a few times. I glued it again. Finally, I realized that was not the right side. I need to clean that up and get it facing the right way. It's opened up and looks good, actually. You kind of see some of those polyps opened up, catching that coral roids I gave to them. Let's see. Let's come around to this side. The mushrooms are doing phenomenal. I had 2, now there's 3. You can see the third one in between the 2. That's always good. And then my Duncan torch corals are looking really, really good. They're actually getting longer by the day, which is amazing. Not by the day, well, a few days or whatever. It's growing. When I got them, those were really, really short and stubby, and they just keep growing out. Seems like they're opening more and more every day. That's always a good sign. As far as the, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name again, Cebu or Seba, whatever, S-U-B-E-E or something weird like that. I don't know if I spelled that correctly. His mouth's a little open. I'm not too alarmed about that. His tentacles look good. He seems to be doing well. He's eating. Bubble tip anemone is doing pretty good. I'm glad he's finally starting to come out some. If you haven't noticed, he's actually starting to come out of the hole, which I hope he comes out entirely because he's a decent size when he does. I think he's been growing. The ocellaris clownfish are starting to notice it, rub in it, which is a good sign. I love that. The temperature's been holding pretty steady between 78 and 80. I have a little thermal gun that I showed you guys before that I've been using right there, kind of giving me the range. I just checked the solidity. I always say those names wrong. I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm terrible at pronouncing things sometimes. I speak a few foreign languages, and it messes with me when I try to pronounce things. I can say big words, it's just sometimes I mess up for some reason, especially when I'm recording. I apologize. You know what I mean if you're new to this hobby. That's just, testing your water, seeing how much salt is in it. Right now, I'm at the gravity's at 1.024. I need to increase it a little bit, and then the parts per million is about 32 parts per million, which is a good, safe range. I don't really evaporate water hardly at all. I keep it pretty full just to keep the water splashing and kind of making that water noise like you would hear like in a fountain or something that's really loud. Because it's in the living room, you're watching a movie, you don't want to hear that splash and all that noise. And there's Babuski sleeping. Mr. Willis sleeping. He has to go to the vet today. It's unfortunate. He needs his little shot. His hair's been growing back on his paws. That shot really is a miracle for him. The channels and the timers, everything's been holding true. It literally is perfect. I haven't had no issues with it or any of the lights or anything going out. Today being Monday is the water change day. I'm going to do a water change. I tested calcium. It still was low. I've been dosing. I need to dose probably almost every day until I get it up, or dose a decent amount to where it's up. Honestly, I fluctuate between 280 and 380. I need to be at like 410, 420ish, so I'm still low. It's sad, but I don't want to go crazy with the calcium, so I'm still dosing. I did check the alkalinity and the magnesium. They're both perfect. Maybe I could raise the alkalinity a little bit to like above 9, because it's at 9. Maybe I get it to like 10 or 11 if it'll help out. It helps absorb the calcium or whatever it may be. The corals themselves look decent. Sorry I'm moving so much, I apologize. The corals themselves look decent. They're really all healthy. Nothing has died. I haven't lost any invertebrates or actually one by suicide. One of my turbo snails somehow made it through this tiny hole back here. That little open port. There's an open port somewhere right there. And he managed to crawl out of it and fall down, and then he was back here in the carpet. I tried to twist tie those wires together, make it look a little neater and cleaner. Yeah, he fell right there and died. It was such a shame. That was the only loss I had. My horseshoe should be okay. I haven't seen him because he's been in the gravel. I don't ever see him hardly come up because I do have tiger pods in here, so I'm hoping he's eating those out of gravel. Plus, there's a bunch of food and algae and stuff like that down there, and leftover shrimp, so I'm hoping he kind of comes out at night or something and eats that. Otherwise, he did molt, by the way, a while back, like a few days later from when I got him. He molted, which is a good sign, saying the water parameters are good, that he's growing. And then same thing happened with him. Prior to that, he molted as well and grew, so that's a good sign that your water parameters are good. Nothing is splitting or dying. Everything seems to be doing well. I'm upset about how that coral turned out, but I am going to fix that for me and you guys. The first actual good cleaning I did was last week, and it got rid of so much. It was way worse than this. This cleaning should get rid of the rest of this algae right here through the glass. I'm going to get rid of 90%, I'd say, probably the hair algae. And then I've been watching the nutrition every couple of days. I take the filter out, rinse the food off of it that's left over. I'm going to find a new way to feed that's going to be more efficient and get less food in my filter. Skimmer's been doing good. The skimmer water's been you can see the particles in there, the brownish kind of light yellowish color stuff. So that's good. I'm glad that they're, that's funny how they suck it in, blow it out, suck it in, blow it. I guess to see what it is, So plus they'll do that with bigger pieces till it breaks apart and then they eat it. What else? Let me think. And then things that honestly I would have done differently is, as far as tank wise goes, this tank is not bad. A rimless would have been nice, but you have to run a screen anyway, sometimes depending what fish you have. I didn't want one to flop out or something like that. This kind of contains the smell a little bit as well, but they shouldn't smell that bad if you have good water parameters. What else? Probably the rocks, I like the cave look. I'd have probably done more of a peninsula style, multiple, rock structures across here, and then maybe a bigger one in the middle. Maybe would have done a little bit different. This isn't bad. As far as area for corals, it's not as great, but I like how there's so many places for them to hide for the fish and everything. For the anemones as well. So, is he moving? Looked like he was moving. Hey, you need to get away. One thing I don't want is these two stinging each other. I'm hoping, I'm going to try to maybe get him moved lower. If he wants to go higher up, that's fine. Maybe get him around one of these other sides or something. Honestly, if I go back, speaking of not doing anything, I probably wouldn't have got him, because the clownfish are not fond of him. No one pretty much is. The crab hides by him sometimes, which is fine. He knows where the shrimp gets fed at. That's funny. But if I go back, I wouldn't get him, and I would have got a much bigger bubble anemone. I would have waited and got a much bigger one. But it's okay. I mean, I'm glad that the bubble anemone doesn't move all crazy all over the place. Some of them can. He tried moving before. He was all the way back there in that corner. Then he was over here. Then he was over here. Long as he stays an inch or two away, his tentacles stay from the bubble. I don't care really where he's at, or long his tentacle stays away from my corals. I really don't care. You know, I still love the fact that that one keeps getting in it, which is amazing. He's just basically trying to find a home for him, you know, they're going to be at, especially if they paired up. I think they did for the most part. It's been a long while. In the beginning, they swam together from the beginning because one was so much bigger than the other. And then the bigger one started to kind of bully him to show him that he was the dominant one. Then they swam together the whole time. Then for a while there, when I had a couple new fish, they just kept doing circles around the top of it. And now they seem pretty chill, you know, going everywhere, getting in a bubble anemone. So I'm pretty happy. I really don't want to add too much stuff to the tank, especially not anything aggressive like a Danzel again, honestly. Probably going back to maybe got a more less aggressive. I wouldn't call them really aggressive, but they can be little jerks, you know, chasing a smaller clown. He's going to grow quickly. Even the bigger one, he'll sometimes bully. He's growing quickly. He's grown a little bit since I got him, quite a bit actually. He's much smaller than that, so that's a good sign that he's doing good. Turbo snails are kind of scattered everywhere. The emerald crowd's over here. Going back to that, doing things differently. The tank, not so much a bad deal, to be honest with you, just because everything what you get. You know, if you were to set up another tank this size or bigger and you were to buy everything individually, you might get a little bit better equipment, but it would just cost you so much. Honestly, either way, this hobby is not cheap. I'm not going to pretend to you guys that you can. I see those videos of those budget builds for like 150 to 200, like bare minimum, but they're putting either fish or coral that are easy to maintain, cheap, you know. They look okay, yeah, they're decent, you know, but honestly, if you want something of some kind of unique corals and a decent size, at least 30 gallons or more, with chemicals, dosing, cleaning stuff, fish, coral, rock, tank, everything, this is $1,500, at least $1,500. Minimum $1,500. I think it's more pushing like 16, but let's just say, for argument's sake, this is about $1,500. So honestly, it gets really expensive. A lot of it is dosing chemicals, testing, everything you could dream of. One of the best investments is this little power strip right here, surge protector with individual switches. I still have room for one more switch. There's actually nothing in it. I don't know why I haven't turned that off. So I could do one more channel. That one's probably going to be the light for the sump. No, for the refugium I plan on separating that middle chamber into two. One side filtration. Those big Coral Life filters. These filters are actually good. I'm not knocking what they designed. You know what I mean? Like, it's decent. The rack is a little flimsy, but it doesn't need to be sturdy. You're setting it down in there, and you know, it's not going to fall over anything. It's tight. So it's not really bad. Everybody's like, oh, this rack's flimsy. Everything fits in it perfectly, and it works perfectly. It works perfectly. Here is the filter. What's so nice about this, it's a carbon filter with floss on top, and it works beautifully. I mean, it'll actually filter the water really nicely. You get a pack of 2 of these for $10. So you really can't go wrong. Yeah, you could be cheaper. You know, you buy a piece of floss and then maybe buy the bag of carbon's expensive. So this has carbon. This is a carbon filter. So this is for the BioCube 29 and 32. Actually, it's for the 1429 HQI. Keeps water crystal clear, removes odors and discoloration. And it really does because of the carbon. So it works really well. Easy to install. Pops right out. You can rinse these very carefully. Oh, is that a coupon? Did not notice that. $2 off Kent Marine. And I actually bought this stuff. Could have saved $2. I might keep that because I do use Kent Marine. Coral Life does make a good product. Their lighting works perfectly. Their tank looks good. Everything's sealed. Nothing's cheap. I've not had any issues with it, and it's been running approaching the 8th week this Thursday. I have no complaints. Everybody said this is flimsy. If you build this right and tighten it up, put that tank on, it is not flimsy. It doesn't even budge. We have a he's going to be 2 nephew, and he runs around and bumps into it and everything and leans on it and everything. It doesn't even move. So unless you're intentionally trying to damage or tip this or something, you're not going to accidentally do it. It would be hard to do it, at least. So these filters are nice. They're cheap. They work well. Let's look through the lighting. You can see the carbon in there. It's not a crap ton of carbon. It's just enough to clean up and get rid of the, like it says, get rid of it, clear, make it clear, and then get rid of your odor. So that's always a plus. I run a bag of, I wish I could think of the, it's like Spectrum. It's like a bag of carbon, a big one, a decent sized one. It tells you can get one matched up for your fish store for the size tank you have. If you have really bad algae problem, you're only going to get a month. That's the bad part about it. Once you get rid of all your algae problem, you get a new one. You can push almost 3 months. So that's amazing. I think it said not to rinse the other one. It says rinse filter cartridge under tap water, remove the excess dust. So if there's dust or anything, remove the used filter cartridge and discard. Insert the new filter cartridge. See instructions below. Note, for optimal efficiency, cartridge should be replaced every 4 to 6 weeks. Like, that's kind of more in the 6-week side. Especially in the beginning, you don't want to change or do anything because you're trying to build up bacteria in there. People use cold tap water to rinse them. I do. Doesn't hurt anything. What else? The ceramic balls I have in there, and then the black foam. I bought the whole block. It was like $2.99 or something. It was long enough to cut exactly in half, and then I put one. So let's start from the top. I obviously have that. Then I have my my other carbon bag with a with the foam block, and then I have the ceramic balls with another foam block. So it's plenty of filtration. Then it has another small foam block that has an opening that keeps anything from going into the sup pump, larger debris. So it's nice to have that there, especially when you have your refugium. It just keeps your algae and other things from getting in there. If your tiger pods happen to get in there and they get sucked up and blown into the tank, that's not going to hurt anything. They're going to eat. If they don't survive, they're still going to get eaten. If they live, they'll still probably get eaten. So really, it works out well. You don't need an expensive light. You could probably get away with like a $10 or $15 or $20 light from like a pet store, Petco, or PetSmart, or whatever you have in your local area. You don't need a crazy expensive light for the algae to grow in your refugium. You can run it 24/7, I guess, to keep the algae growth up. And then, dump the bottle of the tiger pods in there and just watch them reproduce. It's a safe place for them to reproduce. Make sure you dose the food directly in that refugium so they have something to eat. Obviously, you're going to still have to do it out here for some of your corals. Eat the phytoplankton as well. What else? Reef roids, they eat those. I was going to look into some Dr. G. That's really good stuff. Natural iodine, the lagoons is good. You got to watch how long you dose that for, and then you got to take a break, letting everything kind of not filter, but, levels, so that levels don't get too crazy. He does that every once in a while. He'll just, spaz out. The bigger one, he'll bite or try to eat something off a rock. All of a sudden, you'll see him just start twitching. I haven't figured that out. He seems healthy. Always look at your fish. Make sure there's no discoloration, no ick, no stuff on them. There's no scratching, no biting at the fins, everything. All my fish look really, really healthy besides the dragonettes. Their bellies are a little slim, and it's so upsetting because I've dumped so many bottles. In an 8-week period, I've done 6 bottles. So I'm hoping a lot of them are hiding in the rockwork, and they're just reproducing. Once they reproduce so much and they can't all hide in the rockwork anymore, they'll slowly come out. Maybe they'll get eaten. We'll see how it goes. I am going to have to get another bottle today to make sure that he's okay and that he has enough food for at least another week, maybe more. What else? Let's check on the... See, now it's too much. It gets kind of hard to dial it in, honestly. You have to kind of be patient with dialing it in. It's not as precise as, the one that has the... I forget what it's called. But you can only run the wood block in this because it doesn't have a pin and a wheel or something to adjust it. So, unfortunately, you have to turn it a little bit. There we go. It's starting to calm down a little bit. Yeah, we'll go with that. I want to collecting all that waste. I am going to rinse this filter real quick. I'm I'm going to get some gloves. Well, actually, I can technically do that when I do the water change. I'm not going to get dirty and get dripping water everywhere for no reason. I am going to change it to this one when I do my water change. Go ahead and get rid of it. And just be careful, because by rubbing it, it kind of rolled up some of the floss on it. Technically, you could get another piece of floss and put it on top. Like kind of wrap it around it. Technically, you could do that. You know, if it falls apart or whatever. Technically, you could do that, because the bottom of it I like is plastic, so that way the carbon doesn't fall down into your filtration system. Those carbon bags work well. I did see some stuff in them, so they work really well. What else? I happened to have to rinse it in the last water change because it was so gross. They say not to rinse those too much, but I had to do it. Get them cleaned up a little bit so the water filtration would go better through it, because you could tell when your filters kind of get clogged up or dirty is because there will be a pool of water, like a 1/4 inch or whatever. Normally, there should not be. There'll be like a little bit pool right there where it initially goes at, and the rest of it is not dry, but it should be like hardly any water on it. So that tells you, that's kind of an indicator with the coral life, that A, your pump's weak, or B, that draws it, or B, it's clogged up, or you have food or whatever in it. So, you know, you want to clean that out. As far as like going back, yeah, I would still buy this. Works well, beautifully. I just love the timer setup. Yeah, you can't go in there and change the spectrum of how much red or how much blue. That's a little ridiculous. Yeah, for some expensive, crazy corals, that might be beneficiary, but this is powerful enough, especially if you run all lights during high intensity, you know, the blue and the whites and everything, all intensity during the day. You do that, you'll get plenty of light. I mean, plenty. You have to watch. Some corals can be easily burned up by the light. You know, what else? The anemones like the light and the flow, especially flow. I adjusted just that small adjustment. You can kind of see these green star polyps kind of move. I might turn that pump a little bit more of a twist. Let's see what it does if I just twist it a little bit more. So, right there. Let's try that. See what that does. And it's kind of away from the bubble anemone a little bit, so the fish can go there. Let's see. There we go. You can see it moving. Yeah. Yeah, you can see the flow. Yeah. Okay. So that's a lot. Seems like it's getting better flow. You can see even this moving. You can see these kind of moving. Yeah. Okay. That's a little bit better. You kind of want to play with it. There's always going to be a dead zone or something. Some people get the small nano ones. I could break it down. It's a 528-gallon pump. What I might end up doing is getting like 2 300s and then putting one on either side and then pointing it to where it kind of flows. You know, I don't know. I might change it, but it's done this well so far. So if something works, honestly, I know you always want to improve things, but be careful. You could be going in the wrong direction. You know, it just depends on your tank and how you're doing. I love when he kind of swims up like off the gravel. He looks so funny swimming. So let me see what else. Regrets. Quality is good. I would buy it again. I know people get those digital ones. I like this old-fashioned one. It's pretty accurate. Like, right there saying 78. I guarantee if I put the gun right there by it and test it, it's like 78 point something. So they're very fairly within tenths accurately. What else? Or hundredths or whatever you want to say. After I put that little bit of coral roids on them, all of them are like open up and super happy. So they got a lot of nutrition from that. Let me think. I dosed the calcium because it was low. Very important. Buy one of these planters. I don't know how much I talked about this. Buy one of these planters. This has 2018 through 19, like June of 19, so I have plenty of time. So each day, you know, it'd be like the calcium was at 280. I did phosphates. I did coral roids. water changes today, and then nitrate was 15 between 20 parts per million. Like the other days when I added the tiger pods, the natrium levels, 1 drop of lagoons, so I know what day I dose that. Every Saturday, once a week, do 3 weeks, skip the 4th week. See how everything's noted? That's very, very important. I didn't do that, and I'll be like, hey, I can't remember if I dosed yesterday, or did I dose Wednesday, or there's no question at hand. You're for sure, because you have the papers there. If it's sloppy or misspelled, as long as you can read it, that's all that matters. That's very important that you can read it and check it. There's a trusty scraper, the toothbrushes, all my gear in there. These are nice, even that's why I have an extra one of these. You do a square knot, and you can do a drip allocation with these. This bigger container is obviously where I do my drip, my dips, and my drip allocation. And these, sometimes I use the bag, depending what I have. You know, it's just a matter of having everything. Try different flake foods. Some they like more than others. I haven't really been adding the algae wafers. There's so much algae in here. If they're hungry, they will find algae. So, they're kind of holding down that area. I'm really happy about that. See, that flow's kind of staying away from that little spot. Not staying away, but like, I can't explain it. It is moving. Looks like he's moving out, finally. I really hope he moves out and about and somewhere on these rocks. That way they could really enjoy the anemone. What else? Hopefully the water change makes him even more happy. He's on the move, so I might wait to do a water change till later on. I actually had checked and I don't have either the ROI water or distilled water or the purified water. Some purified waters actually have added minerals for taste. You don't want that. You want them pure as possible. Pure water is what you want. If you have no choice and you can't find the RODI water, buy distilled is the second best. Distilled has a lot of stuff removed out of it. It's better than tap water, much better. I would never use tap water. The initial fill up, to be honest with you, I used tap water. It didn't hurt it. I obviously let it cycle and run for a while. I'll never use tap water in this tank again. They even tell you, even the initial setup, not to use it. But it was 32 gallons. I wasn't going to go buy 32 gallons of water, bring it here and dump it in. I just wasn't going to do that. If they had the big, like, saltwater premixed jugs, maybe. But as far as buying purified or RDI gallons of it and bringing 32 home, no. So, you know, the initial setup, I did that. And then, let me close this. I always look around the tank for leaks. Always check temperatures. Always check the parameters of it. See where things are. That's what's so nice about videos. You can always go back and be like, hey, that wasn't there. Or how much it grew. Or what is it doing. I think they sense that they're by each other. That's why they both like kind of reaching out to sting the other one. I'm probably going to have to not shoot him, but kind of move him down a little bit. Scare him away from that area. I don't want him stinging him. Especially the bubble. That's the last thing I want. You know, that's the one I'm definitely going to have for him, is the bubble one. So, you know, fortunately, probably should have picked some better spots for the torch corals because they're so tall. I probably should have brought them a little bit down, like on these cliff sides or something. Especially if I get rid of him. I don't want to, as long as he doesn't sting and stays away from my other anemone. I should have no problem with him. You can see he's kind of trying to come out. So hopefully he comes out of that dip. I don't know. So, there's the tansel. He always goes back and forth. He pop out of the rock, try to see if it's food, and he goes back in. So he's pretty cute. Trying to think of anything else. Talk about the ripple. Talked about that. That's very important. I like this unit because it does have the fans, and it's mainly, I think, designed to cool the LEDs, but it also draws the air through the vent through here, kind of gets rid of some of the gases and blows out or in. I can't remember if this is the intake and that's the outtake. I think this is the intake and that's the way it blows out, and the back vent holes right there. So that's really, really nice. They're designed to cool them. Even if it cools just these LEDs, it serves a big purpose. These vents are for the gases, obviously. The rippling effect helps the gas exchange. Power head sticks on there well. This moved a little bit. If you put it where it's dirty, I had to keep coming off. It kept doing that. Luckily, it didn't break. I got lucky. The thermometer. Trying to think. I need to attend to this immediately and get that set up in a good place. What else? The coral itself looks good. I don't know if it's doing that on its own. Like, I don't know if he's intentionally making a hole there for to start growing or moving. I don't know exactly. I'm going to find out. That rock is very cultured. I wanted to transfer to the other rocks. That's the rock that came with my mushrooms right here. They're beautiful. I love the coloration on them. It's hard to see. It's like a reddish. It's like a purplish reddish with like really beautiful green, like teal or whatever. So it looks amazing. Let's see. They really like those Duncan corals. Maybe if those get long enough. I'm not sure if they can rub on those and host those. I'm not sure about that. I've seen some in frog spawn and torches and hammer coral, so they might like that. So we'll see. Those would have to grow quite a bit. They might even find a place to sleep on top of them or something. I know some of them like to sleep on clams and a bunch of crazy stuff like that, so we'll see how it goes. There he goes, rubbing on it. I love that he finally noticed that. I'm hoping he comes out all the way, the anemone, bubble tip anemone comes out all the way. You can tell between the wet rocks and the dry rocks. They're starting to culture. That's always nice. I did love this little island. That was one of the reasons why I wanted him, because of the island. Kind of put him on the gravel anywhere. Let me think. I think that's pretty much it. There's still plenty of shells. I think I have like a total like 4 or 5, plus one snail died, so his shell's going to be available. Well, the suicidal one. So his shell, I took his shell and put it back in there, so that'll be available for hosting. I think I have a total of 6 shells for them, 4 hermits, and then 3 turbo snails. What else? I think that's pretty much it. There he goes, hunting for the tiger pods. Don't worry, buddy, we'll dump some soon. But I think that's as much as I could think about talking about this. Here's the glass, what it looks like now. And where the hair algae, I'll try to reach most of it if I can't get it. It's all the way like in this little corner or something. I'm not that terribly, upset about that if I can't get it, but I'm gonna try. So just keep an eye out for the next video. Should be coming really, really soon. Yeah, he's definitely moving out. You can see how far out he is now. Good. I'm so happy he's coming out. I'm really, really loving that. That'd be amazing if he comes out all the way. The fish can kind of enjoy him, especially Nemo. Yeah, he's definitely coming out because he's never been that far out unless he's trying to come out, which is a good sign. I kind of watch the other one, make sure he stays away. He's getting really, really close. I'm going to have to put a glove on and kind of move him away a little bit from that spot. Just get him a little bit further down or get him to close up a little bit to give him room to come out. I don't know if they can. I don't know how bad it is if they sting each other or what effects they would have on each other. Or if it makes them want to go back in there. That's what I don't want to happen. I kind of do some research on that. But other than that, man, I just wanted to rant a little bit and talk to you guys a little bit about tanks, show you what's going on. And honestly, if I go back, I would get back in the hobby. There's a couple of things I'll do differently, but honestly, it's beautiful. I love the live style, I love the fish, everything. It just makes it so lively and nice. I really enjoy this hobby. It is not cheap. Don't let them tell you it's cheap. If you do a small, like 10 or 15 or whatever, nano reef, with a few cheap softy corals and maybe a couple clownfish and, like those $150, $200 builds, yeah. But eventually with time, you're going to buy stuff anyways to make it bigger or better. So it's going to cost you more. You might as well save up and get what you want because you're going to go from tank to tank to tank. Or if you want multiples, that's fine. But the next tank I'll be getting will be big. I'm keeping this no matter what. This is always going to be my first, saltwater tank, and it's special to me. Eventually, I think I want to get a big enough tank, at least a 90-gallon, 70 minimum, but I want between 70 and 100 and 20, but I want it to be wide, you know, rectangle, really wide, deep and wide as well. Well, deep and long, you know, have some nice volume for them, have room for them to swim. You know, I want the bigger breeds of fish that I can't get now. They're really pretty, you know, like tangs and other ones, and the breed that Dory is, I forget what that breed that is, and other beautiful fish like that. So I'll just continue in this hobby, maintain this tank, make it look good, and then see where we are from there. If this video cuts out, I apologize. I can't remember the exact time it cuts out, but this is Gabe's Reef. I hope you guys enjoy these videos. This one's a little bit longer, more of a rant style. You know, I just wanted to talk about the reef, but keep your eyes peeled for the cleanup one. It won't be so long, and just showing you guys what everything looks like. Hopefully I could fix that. I could fix the algae and other things and trying to address everything. So pretty much I think that's it for the most part. I do like how they hang out at the top. That's really cool. And I think that's it for Gabe's Reef. Don't forget, if you're into RCs, check out RC Cincy. That's all you got to type in. It will pop up. Let your friends and family know about this channel. It is family friendly, same as RC Cincy. It is a fun hobby. Get into it if you enjoy saltwater. It's just a matter of discipline and schedule, keeping track of everything, writing everything down, changing water. Most of this would be okay with just a simple water change, especially softies or anything. Just water changes. That's it, you know. It's lovely. And then your saltwater master kit, you know. That's all you basically need. Or if you could buy anything individually, if you get them cheap enough. Support your local fish stores. If it's crazy difference, obviously, if you're on a budget. But if you have the money and you want to really support your local fish store, please do. It's always, you know, nice to do that. There's nothing wrong with buying off the internet. Just be careful. I believe in dipping everything, especially off the internet. If you can see the conditions they're in and what tank they're in at the pet store, you can see what's going on. But especially with corals, dip them because a lot of parasites hide in them. And then with fish, kind of quarantine them or dip them if you can as well. So I think that's it, guys. Just keep your eye out for the other videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.